We have 4 speakers who will be speaking today, and then we'll open it up for questions to the media. Our first speaker today is Daniel Mooney, an Idaho attorney and president of the Committee to Protect and Preserve the Idaho Constitution.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks everyone for being here. It's a great group. Appreciate you all. My name is Daniel Mooney. I'm a 4th generation Idahoan and Boise-based lawyer. I also serve as the president of the Committee to Protect and Preserve the Idaho Constitution, an organization whose members and purpose are dedicated to preserving the freedoms and principles embodied in our Constitution. Today, September 17th, is Constitution Day, commemorating the day in 1787 that the framers signed our U.S. Constitution. Our focus today is on the state constitution, the Idaho State Constitution, but the same principles of constitutional government apply. Constitutions limit government authority and secure individual freedoms. And in recognition that our government is created by the people, for the people, constitutions can only be amended by a popular vote. Our committee is pleased to lead a broad-based coalition of Idahoans who believe that the Idaho legislature has exceeded its constitutional authority in adopting House Bill 93, the private school voucher subsidy bill enacted earlier this year. Later today, we will be filing a petition to the Idaho Supreme Court asking the court to prohibit the state from implementing this unconstitutional program. Article 9, Section 1 of the Idaho Constitution mandates that the legislature shall, quote, establish and maintain a general, uniform, and thorough system of public free common schools. You can see the words on this great banner up here. And interpreting these 14 words will be the task of our Supreme Court. These 14 words are simple, yet they're profound, and HB 93 has no basis in them. Diverting taxpayer funds to a disparate collage of private schools does not, quote, establish and maintain or even promote a general, uniform, or common system of statewide education. Imposing no meaningful requirements for academic quality or accountability is not thorough, nor can it be even described as a system at all. And subsidized private education is fundamentally not public or free of cost to all Idaho families. As several of my co-petitioners attest, private schools are not open to all Idaho students. Private schools are not accountable to the State Board of Education. And private schools have no obligation of transparency to the people of Idaho. For these and other reasons, the committee and our fellow petitioners will ask the Supreme Court to invalidate the private school voucher subsidy program adopted by HB 93. Courts in other states have invalidated similar voucher programs based on constitutional language similar to our 14 words, and we trust that our court will reach such a result here. To represent us in this effort, we have retained Hawley Troxell, Idaho's oldest law firm, and we look forward to a favorable response from the Idaho Supreme Court. Now I'd like to introduce another member of our petitioner group. Cindy Wilson is the Idaho State Director for Mormon Women for Ethical Government. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Constitution Day. Mormon Women for Ethical Government, MWEG, stands here today because our members, hundreds who live in Idaho, are faithful, peaceful, nonpartisan, and deeply committed to ethical government. We believe in the principles of rule of law, constitutional accountability, and the separation of church and state. These are not abstract ideals. In fact, they are guardrails. Guardrails that protect our freedoms and keep government power in check. That's why MWEG is asking the court to uphold Article 9, Section 1 of the Idaho Constitution. This section is clear. The legislature must establish and maintain a single system of thorough, free public schools. By diverting taxpayer dollars to private school tuition and fees, House Bill 93 directly violates this mandate. Voucher subsidies create a second separate system funded by all Idahoans, but free from accountability, free from transparency, and free from the oversight required of public schools. For more than 30 years, I taught social studies in classrooms across Idaho. Urban, rural, north, south. My students learned about our nation's founding and the constitutional principles that safeguard our freedoms. Among these, none is more essential than the rule of law. When lawmakers ignore or undermine these principles, they betray the trust of the people and they endanger the very foundation of our democracy. House Bill 93 does exactly that. The legislative overreach violates the Idaho Constitution, and it undermines the very rule of law that we work so hard to teach our children. House Bill 93 is not only unconstitutional, it is unjust. It weakens our public schools. It strips resources from the majority of Idaho children. It benefits only a few, but at the expense of all. Idaho's children deserve better. They deserve a strong, unified public school system that serves every student, regardless of zip code, regardless of faith tradition, and regardless of family income. Today, we call on the courts to protect Idaho's Constitution, to uphold the rule of law, and to defend the future of all Idaho's children. Thank you. To recognize our next speaker, Alexis Morgan, an Idaho parent whose child was refused admittance to a private religious school on religious grounds. Alexis?
Thank you, Cindy, and thank you everyone for being here today. My name is Alexis Morgan. I am a mother of 4. My children are 6th-generation Idahoans, and their ancestors helped homestead and dig the canals in the Magic Valley. It is a gift to be connected to such a long-standing history in Idaho, a state where my Morgan family has worked, tilled, taught, and farmed for generations. And with that deep connection to this state, its people, and its public communities, my family has contributed to for over 100 years, I find myself in a position I never thought I'd be in, standing here in defense of public education. To me, it shouldn't need to be defended, in theory, because our constitutional framers knew it was vital for Idaho to thrive. But here's the reality. Right now, public funds are being diverted to pay for private schools that have zero accountability to the state and to us as taxpayers, private schools that are not required to serve every child, and private schools that choose which students they admit. If public money is going to private schools, then their admission policies must be upheld against the same standards as our public schools. I know this personally. I once applied to a private religious school on behalf of one of my children. After the admission process, my child was denied. Why? Because we were the wrong brand of Christian. And yet today, that same private school is eligible to receive public funds. From a public policy perspective, when taxpayer dollars support schools with discriminatory policies, we are crossing a line. And I know my family's story is not unique. Countless parents have seen their children rejected from private schools because of their religion, disability, or academic scores. While private schools currently have the right to make those choices, we must ask, should they, once taxpayers are subsidizing them? The 94% of Idaho kids who attend our public schools deserve better. They deserve more than words. They deserve to see us as parents, neighbors, educators, coaches, and lawmakers standing together in strong support of them and of public education. Thank you. It is my pleasure to introduce our last speaker, Paul Stark, the Executive Director of the Idaho Education Association.
Since 1892, the Idaho Education Association has had one mission: to make Idaho schools the best places to teach and the best places to learn. That's more than 130 years of commitment to the belief that when our schools are strong, Idaho is strong. Public schools are Idaho's proudest achievement. They are the foundations of opportunity, of community, of democracy. The original drafters of the Idaho Constitution understood this. They built schools as an investment in Idaho's future. The Idaho Constitution they crafted is crystal clear. The state must provide a uniform, thorough, and free system of public schools. Instead of strengthening the schools that serve 94% of Idaho's children, some lawmakers are promoting voucher subsidies, a scheme that will weaken the very heartbeat of our communities. Think about it. Public schools are where kids first discover the joys of learning. They're where towns gather on Friday nights under the lights. They're where lifelong friendships are born. If we undermine our schools, we undermine the very fabric of Idaho itself. The voucher scheme in House Bill 93 not only undermines our communities, it ignores a core Idaho value: accountability. Unlike in private schools, lawmakers and elected officials control almost every part of the public school day. Yet under this voucher subsidy scheme, private schools get taxpayer dollars without disclosing their curriculum, test scores, or even requiring background checks. They can reject students based on religion, disability, or anything else. This is not just unaccountable, it's unfair, it's unsafe, and it's unconstitutional. We should remember the importance of the separation of church and state. Thomas Jefferson called it a wall of separation. Idahoans call it common sense. Don't bother me, I won't bother you. Voucher schemes like this one tear down that wall. They force taxpayers, religious or not, to support another's religious views and fund schools that can turn their own kids away. Public schools unite us. Kids of every race, religion, and background learning side by side. Vouchers divide us into the haves and the have-nots, urban versus rural, religious versus non-religious. That's why members of the Idaho Education Association are standing up and asking the Idaho Supreme Court to act, to end this unfair, unaccountable shadow education system, and to do it now. In the end, this isn't just about schools, it's about the kind of future we want for Idaho. We want communities where every child, no matter where they live, no matter who they are, have access to strong, free public education. That's what the Idaho Constitution requires. That's what Idahoans expect. IEA members are proud to join the many, many Idahoans represented here today in standing behind Idaho's Constitution and rejecting private school voucher subsidies. Thank you.